if you stand your haunches up, just a nice straight natural line between the legs. Get your saw. Now if you haven't got a meat saw, just get yourself a hacksaw, but a nice clean blade obviously. And what we're doing is just cutting through part of that pelvis. And then we're following on down straight through the tail. Get rid of that. That gives us 2 haunches to play with. Right. So if we look here, I love this little shank. Not quite big enough for one. If you wanted to do a lovely braised shank. But we'll take them off anyway to show you. There's like a natural bend. You can just feel it in there. Get your knife in. Nice and straight. Give it a wiggle. So again with this one, you could search for it there. And across and join it. There's 2 lovely little shanks. But like I say, a bit small. So through the Achilles, I should take these off the bone and make them into burgers. So next up are these dinky little haunches. Now several things we can do with these. Obviously they ain't the biggest and it all depends what you want to do with them. You could take just the pelvic bone out and leave them as a haunch roast. Or we could take the pelvic bone out, split the muscles, maybe steak some of them and have some as a mini roasting joint. Or if you eat lots of curries or kebabs or things like that, stews, casseroles, you could dice it. It would be absolutely perfect. At the end of the day, with this being an invasive species, whatever we do with it is a plus. So what I'm going to do, first of all, is take this pelvic bone out. Quite an odd shaped bone actually. The hip bone, or as we call it in the trade, the H bone. So it's got a ball and socket in here, which I'll just expose the tip of that femur, the thigh bone. Basically, again, just with the tip of your knife and with your other hand pull it away. Like I say, I keep repeating myself, but don't panic. It will all come good. If you go too deep, anything like that, not to worry. So repeat with the other side. It's a very shoddy split, Scott. Talking to myself. So again, we've exposed that ball and the socket. Just cut through the cartilage. If you see the way I'm holding my knife, it's more like a dagger. Just get the point on. Trace the bone round. And voila, comes off just like that. Take that bit of fat off. Take the vessel off and any blood meat. And we're left with these now. So, what I'm thinking is the tip of that thigh bone, we're just going to cut through, and that gives us what is basically the rump steak. So you could get 2 nice steaks off that, or just leave it as it is. So if you look, we take 2 off. 1 each on a plate, medium rare, absolutely perfect. Put those to one side a minute. Right then, what I like to call the road map, you can see there's a seam there. So just go in again, always with the point of the knife, and you will actually join the thigh bone in there. You'll see it in a minute starting to appear. You can just invert your knife a little bit. Hardly any cutting involved, nice and steady, take your time, as you can see there. Now just through the patella, which is the kneecap there, and just with no pressure begin to cut, and you'll come to that seam that leaves you one little thick flank or knuckle, and then our silver side and our top side attached. So I'll show you that again. You can literally see where we're going. So just stretch it, tip of the knife, and you'll come right onto that thigh bone. Again, repeating the process through that kneecap, and then no pressure. Look, I'm just riding the knife over that till it finds that natural seam, which is there if you look at it, and we go through again. Take that off. It's one of the hardest bones on the carcass. Now just take out that femur again with the tip of your knife, and that leaves those two subprimals together, the top side and the silver side. So again, you could put some strings around that, or some poultry bands, perfect for stuff like this. You've got yourself a nice roasting joint. Nice and steady. So where it sits together, the haunches, that little bit of silver skin, invert the knife and just nice and gentle with the knife pointing up, just take that off. And what I'm going to do here, move them out of the way. So I'm going to square those up, always squaring stuff up. Take off that silver skin of the silver side there. Nice and simple. And then about a thumb thickness, go through. Take yourself off some steaks. Like I said, it's entirely up to you. If you eat more steaks, steak it. If you eat more roasts, obviously roast it. But I love a venison steak. Who doesn't? Let's give that a fettle there. Again, to the pile. And we'll repeat with the other side. Take it off. Always squaring off. Got a little sharpen. Nice ring on that. And again, about a thumb thickness. We work our way through. Get 3 good ones. And maybe a 4th little dinky one. So off that haunch, or that pair of haunches then, we've got 8 nice steaks. And remember earlier I was saying about those rumps, you can leave it whole. If not, take one good steak off, just like that. You can add that to our pile and repeat with the other side. So one nice thick one. So there we have, off those 2 little haunches, 10 lovely little steaks. Right, they can go over there. So onto these little thick flanks then. You could, if you wanted to, roast these, but they are absolutely tiny. What I'm going to do is just take that flap off. Now if this was a bigger species, they would be a decent size. So you've got to think to yourself, do I want to go to the hassle of cooking these like this? Or do we put it into something easier? I'll just show you a school of thought. You can split it down the middle. And that will give you 4 steaks. But what I most probably will do is put that to dice and stew. Beautiful looking meat there. So we've got 2 beautiful rump steaks, 8 lovely haunch steaks, obviously pan fry with whatever you want. I mean, these are a great meal just with some salad, some fries and a lovely venison steak.